button here. Hello and welcome to another Kind Kids Live. It's Friday, folks, and I'm that Kimberly. And my guest, I will let introduce here shortly, but we can wave at him. Hi, Sam. Thank you for joining me
Hello.
again. Yes, Sam is here in the house, and when Sam and I get together, I laugh a lot, even though he doesn't understand why, but I do. So, anywho, we'll be talking about things that we know. Here's a little graphic. Kind kids speak. We're gonna stay in our lane and share our knowledge and what we've learned over the years. So please, if you content's valuable, please share this. Also, a comment would be great, or a question. If you're watching on the live, we want to answer questions. And if you watch on the replay, this is specific to the replay. If you watch on the replay, put hashtag whatever industry you're from, and then speak. Let's see if anybody. So it'll be like hashtag caregivers speak, or hashtag APT speak, or hashtag, I don't know, gay speak. I don't know. So now that I made Sam laugh. That's awesome. But we do want to answer questions live, so please leave your comments in there. I'm going to put the little graphic up there, and I guess we will get our cards going. And hold, please. Let me grab the cards. Sam, let me go ahead and let you introduce yourself while I grab my cards. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is the part where I make myself sound amazing.
Yes, you are amazing.
So my name is Sam Gainous. I'm based in the middle of nowhere, a suburb of nowhere in Wiggum, Georgia, in Southwest Georgia, on my family farm. I have 20 years of experience in the multifamily industry.
20 years.
I've spent some time on site. I worked in sales. I've led marketing for supplier partners. And currently I'm consulting for supplier partners in sales and business development and marketing.
So you have a wide range of experience, is what you're telling me.
Yes,
I,
yes,
I'm quite excited about this. We always have good. I love to have conversations with you because I always learn something, and two, you're a great debater. Like, so if we don't agree, which it happens, not often, but it happens, right? Um, we can debate nicely. I feel. Would you not agree?
sure.
You can.
I guess
I'm
I
not
would
paying
agree
you
with
any
that,
money, so you can
but
be honest.
I mean, I think you've learned now that by the end of it, you agree with me, and that
I
and
don't think that's the case, but
we both win that way.
that you make me laugh because that always sounds like what my mom used to tell my dad all the time. And I knew that wasn't true, right? So I was like, yeah, dad. I don't know why you tell mom that, but okay, whatever. Or vice versa. I can't remember. It was so long ago. But anyways, so I did condense the cards for you, so I hope you'll enjoy. There's only five, and the colors, since the colors do range from a shade of different yellow, different orange, lighter color, and I know green and red. That, like, I put numbers on it, so you should be
Okay,
able to see. Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not colorblind.
I know,
Um,
joke.
um,
Well, this my camera too will pick up a different color
ah.
sometimes. So it
So
has
my
not.
or am I ready to pick one, or
Yeah,
are we?
sure. You pick
Um,
one.
I'll go with one.
You're gonna go with one. Let's see, so I don't cheat. Haha! One is multifamily. Can we see
Know a
that?
little bit
Yes.
about that. Yes,
I know a little bit. Yeah, just a
just
little
a
bit.
smidge.
Just a schmidge. We love that. Multifamily. So, okay. Let me think off the top of my head. So you said 20 years, right? You were
Mhm.
definitely, that's where you and I met back when you were at Maintenance Supplier Warehouse, right? No, no.
It was Appliance Warehouse,
Thank
division
you.
of CNC Service Works. Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry. I've got my client, your old employer on my brain. So together. So that, yes, that's where we met. And first, I'm going to say shout out for anyone who's watching. Laura Lestis, love you. Thanks for watching on the replay. But so, as it relates to diversity and inclusion, let's do that. Let's
Okay.
do multifamily. Um, I'm going to talk from my experience. When I got into the industry, which you'd already been in for a while, because I remember meeting you on the trade show floor, running around with my video girl T-shirt and going, would you like me to record a video of you? And you're like, get away from me, weird woman. You didn't say that. You're like, sure. You were actually always down to do whatever Jan and I said we were going to do, either on the golf course or in the trade show.
Much of a choice, so I just went with it.
Yes, you did. We did enjoy where he's like, who of the suppliers will do this with? Oh, Sam. Yes, of course. Sam the man. That's why you got the Sam the man, like title from us. So we did enjoy that about you, is that you were always willing, especially when it came to marketing, to just roll with it, and we figured it out.
Yeah.
Which we'll have to tell a story at the end about one of our last NAAs together in a very hot and steamy New Orleans. So later, that will be at the end. Wait for it. So multifamily, how have you seen things change from like, for me, I was one of the few Latins, and I am half Latin. My mom is from El Paso, Texas, second generation. My grandparents were born in one El Paso, one in California, but still so maybe it's third generation. I don't know, but they were born here. But my dad's from Oklahoma, so he's an Okie from Muskogee. My last name is Scott. That's where I get it from, folks. But I'm a woman, I'm Latin, and I didn't see very many Latins other than me and a couple others I would name off the top of my head right now if I could, but then that would throw me off. So, but then slowly but surely, I started seeing one or two people of color and other race, culture. Like, definitely, has not totally changed, but is slowly becoming a little bit. But we're so far from being truly a diverse set. But in the world in general, I feel that's the case. How have you seen it change?
So I'd say, I got into the industry when I was 20.
Wow.
I may give away my age. Maybe I should say I was 10 or 9, because I'm technically 29. I had no experience in the industry. I was fresh off the farm, literally. Moved to Atlanta. And what I witnessed, I guess there's two sides of it. I briefly worked for a company that had an apartment community they just completely gutted and renovated, and all these fine finishes. And it was in town, and what was considered the edge of what was known as the LGBTQ neighborhood of town. And they literally marketed the community as a gay-friendly, LGBTQ-friendly community, because they already had one that had just kind of become that on its own. Okay. And not to say that that's not done anymore, but it feels like it had to be done back then. Like, you had to put it out there up front in your marketing that this was a gay-friendly community. But now it's more diverse. It's just that I feel like anybody can walk into a community in a typical gay neighborhood, and as a gay person, LGBTQ person, you can feel more comfortable. It's not like they have to only target that demographic. I don't know how to perfectly explain that, but I've seen that change. It's become a much more, even though LGBTQ people are not protected under fair housing, at least at the national level, we are in certain states and certain municipalities, but it is not something where we're covered everywhere. I've definitely seen the industry, the demographics at communities have changed a bit, where it's much more mixed instead of segregated. Because we used to put ourselves in our own areas. So there's that, but also just working in, and I'm sure this goes for any industry, when I first started, it was, hey, keep it cool. You only talk to the other LGBTQ people that you work with about being one of those letters. Don't talk to anybody else at work about, oh yeah. I literally was written up working for a company. This was when I worked back on site. And it was truly, I was written up for being gay. That's literally what it came down to.
Wow.
I shared a story with a coworker about a blind date someone had set me up on, and how it had just gone horrible, and I couldn't wait for it to end. And, I tripped on the way out of the restaurant. I was trying to leave so quickly. And I was unaware she had a problem with the fact that I was born the way I am, and she reported me. And so I was written up. So it started that way, but 20 years fast forward, now there's people who are completely out. They've been out from the beginning of their career. They're in prominent roles throughout the multifamily industry. And There's still issues, but obviously there's a lot more prominent LGBTQ people that are in positions of power in our industry.
Well, when you even said that women, like, you had to be careful who
Yeah.
because during COVID, watching on so many documentaries on Netflix, to make sure that I do our caregivers documentary and anybody else's caregivers documentary justice, I've been watching a lot of documentaries, and I didn't realize the things that the LGBTQ community had to endure and go through until I watched Circus of Books, and the one about the women that I told you about, and I can't remember the name of it. It was something love, like it was a life love, or about two lesbian women that were, and I'm probably saying that incorrectly, but two lesbians that were like married back 30 years ago. You're going to correct me. That's good. Hold on. But now 60 years, they show their lifetime of 60 years that their family didn't even know, right? And until like the last 10 years. And so I was like, oh, crying. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, Laura. Laura says, oh, my heart. She loves you, Sam.
I love me some Laura.
So like that was definitely eye-opening. So what did I say wrong there? Tell me.
No, you didn't. Okay. I was saying it's because that's appropriate. I totally forget the name of the documentary as well, but you're talking about a lesbian couple that was together for years, and finally they were able to get married when the Supreme Court allowed them to. Recognized them too, but they'd really been together all that time, but just
they've still been private too, even after they got married. They didn't tell anybody.
Yes, because it makes a big difference. I know for a fact I've not been hired for jobs because of my sexuality. I've missed promotions. I've had confrontations with different managers or people at my level and different companies because of my sexuality without saying a word. So there were good reasons, sadly, that it was kept quiet, that you kept it quiet. And like you were talking about me, in a sales environment,
because you're a heck of a salesperson, I have to tell you that.
Thank you. But I had to be so careful. I was nervous when I was young, and I was getting that advice from people that were much older than me that had experience in it, and they knew, like, hey, you want to be yourself, but don't be yourself. It's going to bite you, and that's sad. It's not like that anymore. For the most part, though.
Well, when you say be yourself, I can speak from when I first got in the industry. I just wanted to do business with people, and I didn't want to socialize with them. I was like, why won't they buy our video product? And I was so like, ugh! And Janet's like, okay, Kimberly, and don't like go after them just because they don't understand technology. It's okay. I was like, what do you mean, people? I was so like, So I was, and I couldn't be my normal self. I had to like take a step back and not be as aggressive and not be opinionated, because I owned the company, right? I couldn't be opinionated about whatever it was. And this is pre-political environment today, right? But I just learned to listen, and really within the circle of people that I became close to, within like a trade show environment and things of that sort, going out and partying, I made sure that I ran in the circle of people that I trusted or that I felt were as like-minded as humanly possible. Because you and I, again, we don't agree on everything. And I don't always just think you're right.
I'm getting you there.
But I do have some basic standards, and that's be kind. Don't be a mean girl. Don't be a mean boy. Don't be mean kids, be kind kids, right? And that was my number one. And I didn't realize that's what it was until I got older. But I definitely, that's the reason I would stay within those circles of people. And that the ones that also reminded me a lot of my brothers or my parents, my grandparents, that had the same work ethic or had the same, I knew that if I got a little intoxicated, that I was going to be walked home and nothing, I wasn't going to have to worry about anything, right? Whether I was sober or not.
I can say, and I'm sure the same goes for any minority, is, women, like that needing to feel that comfort.
There you go.
Of the people that you surround yourself with. And, I can't tell you how many times it would be so disheartening to meet someone new, whether they were a potential client or someone else who was a salesperson, have a great, happen to end up with them at dinner and with some other people, have a great conversation, and then them find out that I was gay, or it came up in conversation or whatever, and everything would change.
Yeah.
So you definitely, once you find in our industry, I think any industry, once you find your
Any
group,
industry.
you stick to people you're comfortable with. You let new people in, but for minorities, I think it is more important to have the people that you've fully vetted, that they don't have an issue with who you are.
Yeah, for sure. And again, like that is, even though it was a multifamily topic, it is across the board, and startups are really helping that. Like the technology age helped, like I think the world in general get used to working remotely, and not going into the office, having more diverse, company across the board, however small or large that company was or is, and marketing, everything has slowly, thanks to social media for sure, that's driving those things, that has helped us, get caught up with time. Here's a question from Ms. Diana Benitez. How do you feel or handle when people assume you're a certain way without even knowing you? Oh, I cut them. So for me, like, that's a great question, Diana. So I used to run, like, a running joke is, I tell people that I am half Latin, and it's really my mama's love and my dad, that the way they taught me that you're kind and you defend your brothers or sisters, and anyone who needs help or anybody who's weaker than you, right? And so I might have learned to box or cut someone when I was in my high school age, right? maybe a little bit younger, but I would tell people I would cut for you because I love you so much. Like I love you. You're my people. You're my, sister from another mister, brother from another mother, all those terms. And I don't know if the LGBT community gets the credit for those, sister from another mister, any of that. But my point is, I would say I would cut them. So to answer your question, it would upset me if somebody assumed that they could push my button. Like literally, we had big play buttons in the middle of our chest, and if they go, well, what happens if we push? What happens if we push that button? And they would like come at me like this, and I'm like, I'll show you what happens. Watch it, right? Like there was I said, remember that old game from whatever year that, Mr. Boxing Glove? And then we'd all laugh, and I was like, we don't do that kind of video, but come over here and we'll show you what kind of video we do, right? So, how do you handle that, Sam?
The question again was people.
How do you feel or handle when people assume you're a certain way without even knowing you? Yeah.
If I get that opportunity, because there are people that do have issues with LGBTQ people, and if they know about them before they meet them, they know of them, they avoid them. So if I get the opportunity to meet someone and they've made assumptions about me based on that, or if you look at my Facebook and Instagram and see that I am very political, and assume that I am just going to be like in your face about politics. It depends, are we at a Democratic convention? Like, it's going to be political talk. But if we're having drinks at NAA or some association event, that's not going to come up. So I know that people can make assumptions about me based on those two things, my sexuality and know that I am very outspoken and a bit of an activist. So for me, when I can tell they already have an idea of me, I don't try. I just have learned, I just want to be myself. And at the end of the night, end of the day, whatever, it'll work out.
You don't even kill them with kindness?
No, I mean, that's the way I am. I just would, say, yeah, if they've already got an opinion of me, it's not my responsibility to change it. That was their mistake, to make opinions of people before they've met them. So I'm just going to be me. So you get the real me. And if it changes your opinion, great. If it doesn't, at least I was nice. And
yeah,
that's it.
Well, Laura says, you are my ride or die peeps. Yes, ma'am. I would cut for me some Laura, and for you, Sam, and Diana, and really any of the do as we do, or any caregiver. Like, I definitely have a bigger heart for caregivers and for startup groups. I definitely give away a lot of my free ideas and advice on business to startups because of I've come from that culture, from that background. I know what it feels like, even though, yes, people, I do have a degree. Here's my diploma. Nobody's ever asked to see it. Brandon is going to hang it up in the office.
Is that one of those from Office Depot where you just fill in the blank?
It has the Southwest Texas. This is actually a relic because the name has changed. They had a political. They had when Governor Perry got in office, they got it petitioned to change the school petition, the students petitioned to change
Mhm.
it, and so they won, right, and they changed the name. But my transcripts that nobody's ever asked to
Ask.
see, they're sealed. I have those somewhere. I'll have to find them for the next live. But that diploma have been sitting, and nobody's asked to see them. But I thought I'd show you. So from my experience and my education, which I'm not big into politics. I do like to listen and learn. That's why I always learn something new from you. The fact that you say you're a little bit of an activist, you were one of the first people that educated me on top of with my brother Mo about peaceful protesting, what that looked like, what that meant, because it just freaked me out. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. That'll be another conversation. But yeah, I learned so much from you. You definitely have such a diverse, meter that you like. If people don't give you a chance, shame on them. But I feel that that your knowledge is so broad that would bring that because even more now. So in this environment, to explain those things to people who don't understand them, whatever
Talking about meeting people, so meeting people and already having an opinion of them. It used to just be hearsay, but now we do have social media, and a lot of people bash social media. And sure, it's going through its tough time. Its first real big struggle, its growing pains, and how it needs to regulate itself and be more mindful.
Mm-hmm.
But
they're trying. Zuckerberg is trying. He says
supposedly. But my thing is that there's a lot of people that, especially in our industry, that I've seen them on Facebook or social media long before I met them.
Mm-hmm.
And they may have posted some things that I found offensive or that were a very different point of view. But I know that the same works for me, that what I posted did that to them. So I'm not going to form an opinion of them unless it's outright hate, that they're putting.
Hate is not accepted.
Hate's different. Then when I meet that person in person, I'm going to assume, maybe they're like me, that's just one part of them and not all of them. Mm-hmm. And I want to give everybody a chance. And if they want to talk politics, I can talk politics with them. But
yes, you can. We'll have to get someone else on here to talk politics with you, though, because I suck at that part. Diana response: I love you. That I think I don't have to disagree because I'm Latina. Their conversation with me on being self-made, yes. And I laugh at it. Yes, we love you too, Diana. I can't read at the same time. I don't have my co-producer, so I apologize. But yes, we love some Latinas. We are spicy, just a little bit. Okay, so we're going to put up one more because it is one more. Maybe not. You have time to see.
Red 2.
Red. Marketing. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the best way I can do it for right now until we get our audience asking questions and putting the purple or not purple hearts, but the different color hearts in there that they want to have the topic chosen. So anyways, marketing. Let's think marketing. Impactful marketing. Social media. What is your opinion on social media as it relates to doing TV commercials? Do you have one on that? And how do you feel about marketing when we're marketing, online, social media? Well, I should just say online because that's what I mean. And as opposed to putting all your dollars into television.
Oh, that's what you're saying. So as another avenue,
correct,
not,
as another
putting it all into one place. I mean,
well, I don't know who can afford a TV commercial right about now anyways, so it doesn't matter.
Right. I don't know. There's a lot of companies that it's just pointless for them to be advertising in the moment right now. I would say that, all the statistics and studies and just the true ROI that people are reporting, that social media is huge. And, if it were up to Mark Zuckerberg, he would replace commercials. So, that they are working hard to change up the ways that you are able to advertise on their platforms. They have two of the biggest, of course, but I think social media, I mean, that's where you're going to get, no one can share a commercial. I mean, technically, I guess you could if you go
Well,
searching
they
for
do
it.
put them all. They do put them on YouTube and
Right.
on
So I guess
on
if you really like
Venmo. Yeah,
one, yeah, you'll go looking for it. But
yeah.
it's different when someone has shared something or it shows up in your feed as a commercial
Mm-hmm.
and it resonates with you and you tag a friend in a comment or you share it with
Share it with
them.
some. Yeah,
And also it's so much more targeted,
yeah.
which I
And
know
you can
there's
track it.
privacy.
You can track
Yes,
it.
you can track it. There's privacy concerns there and them have big data,
Oh,
them having everything.
okay. We're not
But
going with that
but
question.
but still, so for me, I guess if you're asking between the two, I'm sure it depends on your product or your service,
Hmm.
as to which would be better. But I mean, gosh, yes, you should definitely be advertising in social if you have the budget for it.
Yeah. And it's also if you have the budget, you should make the budget for it. It's almost
Yes.
like we used to talk about print. Now we don't even speak about print. Like I'm like, what? Print magazine? What? I know that they are still around. However, but TV is really the only commercial, right? And
Mhm.
I don't even I stream my television.
Yeah, most
I
people
don't
aren't
have
seeing commercials
cable.
anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, but there's still a section of the population, all
Mhm.
the boomers, my mother being one of those, who she just got her Roku and has no idea what she's doing with it because partially she can't remember, and the other part is because I have to teach her. But it's technology
Yeah.
that streams it, right? And but those commercials are coming up within YouTube, within the streaming ads,
I,
so
I'll
Sling and Netflix and all those things.
when you think about the percentage of the population that doesn't live in a metropolitan area or just a city, like, even the town closest to me is probably like, I don't know, like 7,000 people. Seems
Hmm.
very small, but they have internet, they have cable. I don't have that out here. There's very few people in the entire country that are relying on an antenna to watch TV.
I
And if
wonder how
you have
small that
cable,
market is, though.
it's pretty small.
Okay.
It's a very small portion. I mean, there are people that'll switch over to watch the local news that way, um, but still, my point is that I can't fast forward through commercials here. And when I moved back 3 years ago, it was an adjustment. One thing, not
Yeah.
having internet, but I'm like, man, it occurred to me I was watching Netflix and Hulu and HBO Go and all that. Just there were no commercials. There were
Yeah.
none. And if I
Yeah.
did record
Well, you
something,
paid for Hulu. If you pay for Hulu, then that's where they got smart. They're like, if when you
yes,
pay for Hulu, no
yes,
commercials. That's how
right.
YouTube is as well, and YouTube
Right.
Premium.
Which totally contributed. I mean, just the timing of everything contributed to the boom in social media for advertising because
Hmm.
suddenly it's like we don't have this avenue anymore to advertise on. So where can we do it? There's only so many billboards. There's only, so many other places to do it. And
Did
social
you buy
media,
billboards? Did you buy billboards back in the day?
way back in the day,
Yeah.
we never went through with it, but my old company did
Looked
look
into.
at it. Yeah. And it
Wow.
heavily relies on your product or service and how many people can actually utilize it. And that
Yeah.
division of the company I was with, most of the general public or half of the general public was a potential customer. So it made
Okay.
sense for them to do
Okay.
it.
Okay. Well, it makes sense for everybody to create a budget for social media and or get someone to do it, pay that person to do it. Don't ask your teenagers, your college
Right.
students. I mean, you can. How many people call me and say, "Well, I had my kids start this, but then they went back to college and they don't if they're not excited about it, they're not going to do it." So I always tell
Right.
people, you know, when they bring me in, I'm going to teach somebody and we're going to find the person who really enjoys doing these things because they'll learn it easier, quicker, better, all of it. So do that. People, find the person within your organization that enjoys social media as much as Sam and I do, and Diana and the rest of the Do As We Do team. And get to posting, put your content out there,
Yep.
like that's what it's about. If you don't put your content out, no matter how pretty it looks or doesn't look, that's another, hang up with people, that it has to be
Perfect. Yeah.
perfect. And the world is not perfect. It's okay. Right.
Yeah, people like the raw nature of things now. They
Yeah.
expect that. They see it from their friends and the things that they're posting. So when it looks more authentic coming from an advertiser,
Oh,
it's more relevant to them.
do you,
It's more meaningful for them.
have you ever heard of something called deep fake? We'll have to talk about it later.
And so,
Go Google deep fake, and there's technology out there that people are not even gonna be able to trust video anymore because people can deep fake us, recreate us talking and
oh
saying things that we're really not saying.
yes, I have seen that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's called deep fake. I
It's
just learned
creepy.
about that. Yes,
Creepy.
very
I
much
don't
so.
think I have to worry about that. I don't think I'm popular enough for somebody to do that. But
Well, it might come back. They might. This is going to be on the World Wide Web, as my dad says, the intranet
I'm gonna be
forever.
famous.
So they might deep fake this and make you a white straight man.
Oh, scary. Ooh,
Yes.
that's
Go
a
Team
lot of work for
Sam.
them to do. A lot of work.
Team Sam. So just so you guys know, you're going to tell us on the replay if you agree with me. Put hashtag Team Sam, hashtag Team Kimberly, or hashtag Team Kind Kids, because I think that would be even better. So, well, yes, we'll have to pick that conversation up another day, Sam, because you always have the open door to join Kind Kids Live. So tell folks how they can, connect with you, get in touch with you if they, you know, they want to.
So I'm everywhere. You
Yes, you
can reach
are.
me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, as I always say, MySpace.
Ah! MySpace is still around, folks. It's just used for something different. That's all.
And
That's a
and
different topic.
if you can find my Friendster account, let me know. I'm sure I deleted it, but just in case.
What? You had a Friendster account? That would be a conversation we should totally talk about next, Kind Kids. What is Friendster and where to go? Because and most people don't realize that, well, in multifamily, when we started doing social media, that Facebook and MySpace were only 6 months apart from starting each other, right? The only difference is that Facebook was a closed platform to only college students like you,
Mhm.
and was Friendster prior to that, right?
Yep, yep.
Or yep.
Well, Friendster was separate, but yeah, it was
Correct. Yeah,
before that.
Friendster
Yeah,
was out there first. Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I meant. Sorry.
yeah.
And then here comes MySpace, and then here comes Facebook. So it's
Hmm.
definitely quite interesting. We'll have to have that conversation a different day. But just put hashtag Sam Gainous into Google, and you will
Ooh.
find him. Yes, you will
Hopefully,
find
all
like
good stuff. All good stuff.
all good stuff. You just like you can Google hashtag that Kimberly or hashtag Kind Kids Live for more videos, please. That's why I threw that up there
If if
because
if I if you don't mind me just leaving you with one, it's not like a prophetic thought or anything like that. But
oh
since we were talking about diversity, I just encourage people. I know that it's a stressful time for everyone. With what's going on with the pandemic, I mean, it's got everybody, no matter
mm-hmm.
how strong you think you are, it's got everybody not sleeping well and going through something on some days, if not every day. But there's a lot of talk about diversity right now, and I just would encourage people to try not to judge, take a step back, and try to trust people, try to believe what they say. If
Yeah.
someone comes to you and says that they're LGBTQ or that they've suffered from racism or any kind of bias, trust them, listen to their story, and believe them until they give you a reason not to believe them.
Mm.
And it doesn't mean you pick up and you run to the streets, with them. It's just, it goes a
Yeah.
long way knowing that you have someone in your corner. It makes a difference not only in that person's life, but everyone that's
Yeah.
in their demographic.
Hashtag Team Kind Kids is what Laura says. We agree. Absolutely 100%. It is something that I mean, that's a great point. And we just need to be kinder. We need to slow down and take deep breaths and not get too excited, but listen to the
Yeah,
people or to the person that is saying that, whatever their story is. And
yeah,
listening is a lot of, what I've tried to do in this time to get educated, to get connected, to understand, because I'm not political, right? I
right.
I definitely, my dad was a Republican and my mom was a Democrat, even though she doesn't remember she was a Democrat. But, my dad from Oklahoma, country boy, my mom, city girl, El Paso, Texas. But they both taught us to be kind humans, me and my siblings. And they taught us that, like, we get to choose. It's really
Yeah.
funny that growing up, my mom was like, "Oh, but you don't ever talk about politics or religion," but then my dad would tell me, he would explain it to me in a childlike way, why people would say certain things, and
Hmm.
what a Republican meant, what a
Hmm.
Democrat meant, and all those things. And so then I would go find out, study back before Google. Like I couldn't
Yeah.
Google anything back then. I am a little bit older than Sam, but I
Um,
could.
I like that you said, thank you for saying that. You
You're
said I
very
was a
welcome.
college kid when Facebook came out, which is totally wrong, but I'll go with it.
Just roll. Sorry, but because you really are some. When I think of you as a millennial, and you are right on the cusp.
Just a baby.
You're just a baby. You're not. You're not. You're an educated man with a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge to share. From not just your education, but your actual experience in just life and business together. Like, right, the value that you bring to me as a friend to educate me gives me the confidence to speak to the LGBT community or ask questions in a way that I know that I won't be offensive, or I will be inclusive, because that's never my goal, is to be mean to anyone or
Right,
to
right.
disrespect
That's
them.
it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
You've helped me in so many ways and opened my eyes to so
Aw,
many things. So
thank
you,
you.
as a friend and as a mentor. So yeah.
Aw, now you're gonna make me cry. Stop that. But no, we will be here next week. I think we're gonna have your friend Deborah. I'm not sure yet.
Woohoo.
Deb might be back. Have narrowed it down to just one other person. Three people is hard for me to manage. I'm too shiny penny. It can go too long sometimes. You know what shiny penny means for anybody who has ADD. That's me. That means like squirrel, squirrel. Some people can handle it, some people can't. I'm naturally that way, folks. So, but anyways, please, if you got a question for Sam or I, leave it there in the comments. We're going to get to all of them. If you find value in this, please share this. It's no more about the hearts and the likes, folks. It's about your comments, and it's about your questions, and it's about your shares is what's important. And if you don't agree with us, let us know that too. We want to talk. Like, Sam is a debater, but he's an educated debater, so be careful. I'm just going to say I'm going to go Google it. No, I'm just kidding. But we want to see them all. Like, it can't be just one-sided ever, right,
Right,
Sam? I
right.
mean, we definitely.
Absolutely.
And if you watch on the replay, put in where you watched us from, because we want to know. I definitely appreciate you. Sam appreciates you. And remember, folks, until next Friday, about 12-ish, because that gives everybody a little bit of time. 12:30 sometimes. We will be staying kind, staying in our lane, and remember, sharing is caring, everyone. Bye, Sam.
Thanks, Kimberly.